Hey everyone, it's Shauna here, and I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to cover a few different things I've seen online and in the news. The first thing we're going to talk about is Donald Trump's comments about Somali people. First of all, I just want to preface this by saying that, yes, there were some Somalis in Minnesota who scammed hundreds of millions of dollars. But that does not mean every Somali has scammed hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Or is scamming or was scamming. And I think that what's happening is that President Trump is doing something very strategic and he's finding different scapegoats. So there's been a lot of talk about immigration. I live in Canada, and right now I'm talking about, the US and what's happening there in the landscape. And yes, there are certain aspects of illegal immigration or immigration in general that can have implications on the general public. But what these political leaders, some of them are strategically doing, is getting away with what they are doing to their people by finding other people to blame. So say you're someone, you're angry, and you're like, I can't afford my bills, and it's these immigrants. No, you're just trying to find a scapegoat. The reason you can't pay your bills is because your job is not paying enough money, most likely, because with the rise of inflation, your salary did not rise at the same rate. What does that have to do with immigrants, illegal or not? Let's be honest here and let's talk about what the real issue is. The real issue is that presidents like Trump, who said, take those Somalis back to their own country.
I don't care, Mr. Trump. Take back all Somalis to their own country. That's what they deserve, Mr. Trump.
If you know, you know. Avoiding accountability for him not doing anything for real as a leader. So I know there's a lot of people who voted for President Trump because he said that I'm going to make sure people increase their wages. I'm going to make sure all of this stuff is better for the average American. And I think what he's playing on now is that there's people who have anxieties, and politicians are very smart. They, like marketers, understand how to prey on your anxieties. And so when they can give you a new anxiety, this new anxiety of immigration, immigrants are taking over our land, they're da-da-da-da. I will tell you one thing. As the child of an immigrant, a Canadian immigrant, the population, since I grew up and even as I got older, has never been a majority immigrants anywhere that I've been, in school, at work. Actually, I've always been in the minority, which if you look at the numbers and you look at how many immigrants there are, and I urge anyone who thinks that immigration is this huge issue, the issue is not immigrants. Even if there was 1 million new immigrants who came the next day, whatever, the issue is leaders who are filling up their pockets. The issue is people being overtaxed. The issue is paying taxes and the public infrastructure not reflecting the amount that you are giving. That is the real problem. The problem is leaders who don't care about the average person. They don't care about the fact that maybe houses are unaffordable because they own millions of dollars in real estate, right? I know in Canada, a lot of the people in government here own real estate. They're landlords, they're investors, real estate investors. They don't actually care about the average person. And that's the same thing. Whenever you have leaders who are just rich people who are doing whatever they want, right? That's what the society will look like. It will reflect their values. So I urge everyone who thinks immigrants are the problem, ask your leaders what they're doing for you. Look at what your leaders are doing for you instead of trying to find someone to be angry at. And I think it's very easy when a leader is pointing out a specific group and saying, they're the problem. How many tech investors and how many rich people have been caught and been liable for scamming, for schemes? How many people are in jail for scams, regardless of what their racial or background is or immigration status is, right? We need to be honest about certain things, right? I say that to say, personally, it's not like I have any plans to go to or be in America. It's, but I will say that he is doing something very deliberate, and he's trying to find someone for the average person to be angry at that doesn't involve him. So my question for American people, what has Trump done for you personally? What has changed in your life? Have groceries become more affordable? Has college tuition gone down? Has it become more affordable for you? Has your rent gone down? Has your salary increased? What has he done for you? So everything he's doing is deliberate. And yeah, if he's doing anything for you, let me know. Because I don't know. I'm at a loss of what he's doing other than promoting racism, bigotry, and yeah, just trying to find ways to fill up his pockets. Honestly, I do love that Somali people have taken this, and Minnesota was promised to us 3,000 years ago.
They said the North was frozen, empty, unforgiving. But 3 centuries ago, our mothers and fathers followed a promise across the ocean. Somali hands opening a new map, Somali hearts reading the sky. Here they found a land of rivers and stars. They named it the way the wind whispered, Minnesota.
And I love the spin, and I love that people are generally unserious, because Trump does not. He's definitely serious when he speaks, but he's generally unserious because you can't take someone seriously who's just a joke. He's a joke, and I say that in the kindest way possible, not to be kind, but he is a joke. The man speaks like I don't even know what even is he? What even is he? We know he's a Nepo baby, but what else is he? He's just Donald Trump. He's just a character. He's been made fun of, and he's been a gag for the longest time. And he really is giving power hungry toddler, and that's just the general vibe. But all love to my fellow Somali people. Love that people are not taking things seriously. Take back Somalis to their own country, Mr. Trump. Let's move on to the next topic. So there's a story that came out of Japan. A 79-year-old man murdered his 100-year-old mother. So the story is that he was taking care of her, and he experienced some sort of caregiver burnout. And he said, I need care myself, so how can I take care of her? So he literally, I believe he smothered her. It's really just a horrible, horrible thing. I believe she was bedridden for 20 years or so. I feel like one of the problems that I'm seeing begin to come up, is the consequences of individualistic societies. I don't think it's normal in any case for a 79-year-old to be the sole caregiver of his mother who's like 100 years old. Not what he did was completely wrong, and there's no justification for it. I'm just framing this, right? Where are the social helps for someone in that situation? But also, where's the community, right? Community is actively being eroded, and you can see it everywhere you go. And people often talk about, people aren't having kids. Why aren't people having kids? A big reason people aren't having kids is because the community support is not there. You have children, and then you don't have any support. Not to say, you have kids, so other people have to go take care of your kids. But no, the community. This is the way things have always been. And we're shifting away from the multi-generational homes are not really becoming a thing anymore, where grandma, grandpa live at home with children, grandchildren. Everyone lives together. Because when you think about it, in that kind of household, if you have a sick, ailing family member, the caregiving for that family member would be spread out between a whole bunch of people. And I do believe that he was receiving home care for his mother. I'm not sure about his situation, if he has adult children, what his situation is or relationship is with them, because knowing that he's in poor health and caregiving for her, I'm not sure what the circumstances are. But what I will say is that there is a shift towards individualism, and it's part of it is because, it's expensive to live. Everyone has to work a lot of full time. It's hard to make a living for people. So that's what the focus becomes. It becomes money. And you don't really have the ability always to go quit your job and take care of a grandparent or a parent. Unfortunately, it's an unfortunate reality. And it's a very normal thing in various societies, and it has existed in like, I think, every society where someone would take care of someone else, whether it be an uncle, a distant relative, like someone in the community who needs help. People had the time and were able to step in and take care of that person and didn't expect anything in exchange. But as individualistic aspects rise in our societies, we have to worry about the self. We get away from worrying about our neighbor, and we get away from worrying about someone down the street who's maybe elderly and lives alone and is taking care of their parent. We're talking about elderly people who are very, very lonely, and loneliness actually affects the physical body. It actually has an effect on you, not only mentally but physically. And we have to ask ourselves, what is going to be the shape of a society that just is completely running in the direction of individualism all of the time and has no space for community? And I think the results would be incredibly sad and incredibly unfortunate. Again, murder never justified. However, I think that having community is a very important thing. Friends, family, people you see, people you can talk to, people you can confide in, people who, if you need help, can step in, and I think it's unfortunate when people don't have that. And it's again going to become more of a normal thing that people are going to, there's already all of these stories of people being found in their homes days after they passed away, sometimes weeks. I've heard of a woman who was found years after she passed away, and it makes you wonder, are these the consequences of an individualistic society? Thank you so much for watching, if you stayed the whole way through, or rather listening. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that Donald Trump has done anything for American people? And do you think he's just looking for a scapegoat? And also, have you seen any elderly people who are suffering from this loneliness epidemic? And have you started to see effects of individualism in your own life? Let me know in the comments. Thanks. Bye.